Welcome to another edition of the Hoop Scoop. I'm Jared Johnson, and before I talk some Red Raider hoops, I want to mention go to Red Raider Outfitter for all your double T gear. That's where I got this cool Tech basketball hat, and also where I got this Too Cold hoodie. This is from the Too Cold iced out Patrick Mahomes uniforms that Texas Tech wore versus BYU. I know you're always going to remember that game, that outcome when game day came in and Tech throttled a top 10 opponent at the Jones. What a great memory. So this is a sweet hoodie. Go to redraideroutfitter.com or fansfave.com or go to one of their locations, including now their new one in Plano in the DFW area. But as for Texas Tech hoops, 84-83, the Red Raiders escaped, and I do mean escaped, with a victory over Wake Forest. I felt like the Demon Deacons outplayed Tech, especially in those the middle 10, as Mighty Joe likes to talk about so much, the last 5 minutes of the first half and the first 5 minutes of the second half. But the Red Raiders were able to overcome that, and mostly because of clutch free throw shooting. As a matter of fact, if you look at the game, there's a lot of even stats, but free throw shooting, and they shot about the same. Tech shot 21 and made 16, including several clutch ones down the stretch, while Wake Forest missed 9 of their 22 attempts, finishing just 13 for 22. So, I mean, in a one-point game, and I know Wake Forest hit a 3 at the buzzer, which, obviously there's not a 4-point shot unless you get fouled, and Tech wasn't going to foul, so the game was over. But, I mean, Tech doesn't make all their free throws, or Wake Forest makes more of theirs. Obviously, you're talking about a completely different ball game. So there are some concerning things about Texas Tech, the start to the season. Namely, for me, the defense, way too many backdoor cuts are allowing for wide open layups and dunks. And that's just when opponents aren't just dribbling from the top of the key straight down the middle and dunking on people's heads. You would think Luke Bamboye would be, a nice recipe to fix that problem, or remedy to fix that problem. But when I looked at the stats, he was minus 20 for Texas Tech last night. He had 6 points, 6 rebounds, and a block. I felt like he played well, but minus 20 is a pretty bad number there. Like, for example, JT, who had another strong game, I want to get his exact stat line, 21 points, 9 rebounds. He had a block. No blocks, actually, but 4 assists. He was plus 15, so that gives you an idea of the difference. Now, sometimes that stat can be misleading, but I just think it's worth noting that maybe they haven't figured out how to play with Luke yet, or Bam, as I've come to call him, on inside of the Raiders on the boards and in those game threads. But maybe they just haven't learned to play together yet and play with Luke on the floor, especially since he missed so much practice. Just really hasn't played with the guys that much. But I thought Lawan Watts showed a lot of character. He had a terrible shooting night. He was 1 for 9 and had 3 turnovers. So overall, he struggled. But down the stretch, he made some key plays in terms of ripping the ball out, getting to loose balls, making clutch free throws. So he made a lot of winning plays despite, the overall rough game. I was really impressed with Wake Forest, their athleticism, their aggressiveness, the way early in the game when Tech built a double-digit lead, it was impressive the way Tech was going to the offensive boards. But then Wake Forest flipped the script and they started hitting the boards, the offensive boards as well, and that led to a lot of second-chance opportunities. It evened out in the end, so it wasn't that big a deal. But the way Wake Forest responded was impressive. But then again, the way Tech responded, they were down by, I think, 7 in the second half, and were able to come back and win this game. Like I said, clutch free throw shooting, some clutch plays, just enough defense to carry the day. So Christian Anderson, I felt like he had a worse game than his stat line looks. And he finished 6 for 13, including 3 for 8 from downtown. He had 16 points, 8 assists, 4 turnovers, 1 steal. So, and 3 rebounds. So all around, he had a good game. It just felt like watching with the eye test, maybe he struggled more than he actually did. So, they're still trying to figure out with him running the point. I don't think he's done a terrible job. I haven't given up on that yet. I know a lot of people are saying they still really like him more as an off guard than the point, and that might very well be true. But I wouldn't give up on that experiment. I do like what you're getting from true freshman Jalen Petty. I know Mighty Joe mentioned in his Jaeger shots Thursday night. Jalen Petty finished with 11 points, 3 assists, just 1 turnover, and 6 rebounds. That's a lot of rebounds for a 6-foot dude. Just very athletic, plays with a lot of effort. He looks like he's having fun out there. You know, a lot of the players on the court, really on both teams, for most of the games I've seen so far, it almost looks businesslike. But Jalen looks like he truly loves the game and he plays hard, plays like it. You know, he's very athletic, and then he has a high ceiling. I think he could get a lot better. So it might be interesting to see what Tech looks like down the road with Jalen running point more than Christian. I don't know how that would work in terms of with CA's family and the plan that Tech's had for him and all that. But it's still about winning ball games, right? And if that gives Tech the best ability, then maybe that's something to look at. And maybe not all the time, maybe not like officially, but just at times, just kind of switch it. And I know that playing both those smaller guards can be kind of a liability defensively, but Tech just needs to improve defensively, period. I think a lot of it is concentration more than mismatches and just learning to play together, learning within the system. Some other guys stood out. Tyree Bryan had a good game, 13.7 rebounds. He did turn it over 4 times, but he helped out with 2 steals and a block on his own. So, I mean, he is a stat stuffer, the classic wing stat stuffer. Donovan Atwell was in foul trouble a lot. He had 3 fouls in the first half, picked up an early 4th foul. But he did finish with 9 points and 3 rebounds. He went 3 for 6 from deep. So, he's that sniper on the outside. And also he helps create a lot of room for JT to do his thing. Like I said, JT had 21 and had a good game. So up next for the Red Raiders tonight, 8:30, they play number 1 Purdue. Head coach Matt Painter and Tech coach Graham McCasland are friends. That's something that was talked about on the telecast. It's been talked about in the past a lot. They're playing the championship out there in the Bahamas in Nassau, and it'll be interesting to see how Tech measures up. I know Purdue is number 1. I don't know if I would necessarily call them a dominant number 1 like maybe we've seen in the past. They do have some good players. They struggle with Memphis. They almost lost to Memphis, but like Tech, they got the dub and they're in the finals, and they're a very talented, well-coached, cream of the crop type team. So I don't want to hate on them. This is a really good ball club. Tech is, I think, a 4-point underdog, 4 or 4.5 points. I can't remember. And so Tech's going to have their work cut out for them. I would definitely favor Purdue based on what I've seen from both teams this season. Purdue's 5-0, Tech's 4-1. They lost that one game at Illinois. It was a close one. It was actually a pretty strong showing from Tech. But here's another opportunity, not just to strengthen the resume, but also to kind of come together as a team, and just measure itself early on in the season against obviously a very quality, high-end, a team that could win it all in Purdue, obviously, if they're number 1. I'm also very interested in the matchup between Trey Kaufman-Renn, their 6'9" forward. He's a walking double-double just like JT. Watch that matchup in the paint between Kaufman-Renn and JT Toppin. That's going to be a very nice matchup. And obviously, Tech needs JT to win that matchup head-to-head. But there's going to be a lot of chess moves in terms of if they choose to double, where they double from, how the rotations are based off that, who does a better job of finding their open teammates, and then ultimately, and I know this is trite, but who knocks down open shots? Because guys like Atwell, Christian Anderson, Jalen Petty, Tyree Bryan, they're going to get open looks. And if they want to beat an upset, and be a minor upset, Tech's 15th in the country, but it would be an upset. If Tech's going to pull it off, then they're going to have to knock down open shots better than they have, especially away from the USA. But that game, 8:30 tonight, it's on CBS Sports Network. Of course, we'll have game threads. My Joe will have the Jaeger shots afterwards. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.